Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 0 to 60. On this one, we're doing the crank pulley on a lovely 320 diesel. Now this is a bit of a last minute thing in this workshop. We weren't expecting to be doing this video, but it's my mother's car and it broke down. Yeah, she called me and said my engine is screaming at me, and she was at the local shopping centre. And yeah, went and had a look, and the crank hub had fallen off. It was just sitting down there on the under tray. Luckily the drive belt had actually just sat onto the base of the hub, so I was able to limp it back. And yeah, it was quite the racket driving it through town. I was lucky that the belt never come off. I'll just show you what it was actually sitting on. So yeah, it had come off of the bit that it was supposed to be sitting on, and this is what was left. And the belt amazingly stayed on and kept enough of the accessories running, so I managed to limp it back to the shop. But I have now started the process of getting the crank hub off. Now, the proper BMW tool for these is brilliant. It actually, I'll show you on the new one. The proper tool basically locks into these teeth, and then you can then get a lever on and undo it. If you're poor and can't afford the proper tool like us, you're sort of stuck. Now, I thought I'd try and be cheeky, and I actually tried initially with a breaker bar on the 22mm nut up onto the chassis rail and tried cranking the car over. There was no way it was going to loosen the nut off. So step two was getting to the, as we get under here, step two was getting to the flex plate. It is just a matter of removing the main under tray, and there is a little rubber, I'd say a rubber cover that clips into these three holes. So if you remove that cover, you can then see, sorry about the GoPro, just there, you can then see the flex plate just in there. So with the pry bar, you can get the right angle to actually lock the crank, and that'll give you what you need to undo this pain in the ass Jesus bolt. Yeah, that wedges onto the gear that the starter motor drives on, and using this is how I'm going to try and crack it. So I'm going to put the GoPro down. I don't have any of my normal camera gear here at the moment, so sorry if the audio is a bit shitty, but I'll try and loosen that off and I'll give you an update. Actually, I might give Dave a shot, see if he can record me. Yeah, so I wanted to catch this bit because we've just cracked the bolt a little bit, but I've got a rather large breaker bar on it. I'm just going to move a little bit more.
Well, the steel pipe stopped bending now, but look at the length.
That took a long time. All right, I'll get this off and I'll give you an update. All right, guys, so with it cracked, it's actually spinning super easy now. So we'll get that off. The crank bolt nut is a 22mm nut, and yeah, it's actually not too bad. Now, I did do off camera. I actually got the engine up to not quite full running temperature, but I got some heat in the engine because I have seen people use heat to get these off. And that is the bloody crank bolt. There we go. And that should fall off. Cool. Just have a quick look at that. So you can see where that one would normally slide over. No, it's probably damaged, I guess. Yeah, normally slide over. I make one good one like that. This is a, can't remember what brand it is. I'll put a link to where I got this from. Of course, went for a cheap one. Let me get that back on, and you'll see me in a few seconds. So the hub actually slid back onto the crank quite nicely. There's no play in. Oh, she's a little bit. When it sits flush, it is nice and tight. Yeah, they are literally just held on by the torque of the bolt. Now, torquing these is probably something that I would normally like to do properly. I think when I was reading the TIS on it last night, I think they're supposed to be torqued to around 320 foot-pounds. I'll actually list that below. However, my torque wrench is actually at the new building, so I don't have a torque wrench right now. So we're just going to use the FT setting and hope for the best. I might check it in a couple of days. I reckon the amount of torque that was required to undo it was a lot more than 320 foot-pounds. So, and my tool is just falling out the bottom of the car, which you might have heard. Okay, might need 2 men for this. I apologise for the horrible GoPro angle. I am really down on tools at the moment. I have re-wedged the pry bar that's in the flex plate, and we'll see if we get some torque on it. Pry bar slipped. Okay, I'm going to need two people.
Ready?
No, hang on. It's just gone funny. Okay, yeah, try that. It's moving the engine. It's supposed to be 320 foot-pounds.
Should keep going?
Yeah, just do it really tight, I think.
Maybe do it with the rattle gun as well.
Just to be safe. Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt. Alright, that's that bit. So along with replacing the crank pulley, it just sort of makes sense to do the belts at the same time. Now, the genuine belts are bloody expensive in Australia, like well over $100. However, a little bit of eBay searching, I think the main drive belt we managed to get for around $40. That is a top brand, this one. And then the I think this one's the power steering, it might be the AC belt, but the short auxiliary belt, this is actually a stretch belt. So this was also the same price as the big one, even though it's much smaller. The thing with the stretch belt is they have no tensioner, so you actually need to stretch them to get them on the pulley, and that's why I bought this lovely little kit here. I actually borrowed one last time we played around with this car about 7 years ago. Yeah, hopefully I should be able to use one of these jobbies to hold the belt on the pulley as we turn it all over and get everything on. Unfortunately, I haven't got my normal Torx bits, and that is a T55 Torx bit, which I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be using a T60, but we managed to be gentle and get the main belt on. She is all seated where it should be. I'll just flip you guys around so you can see what's going on. Right, so we've got that belt on. Now it's time for the stretch belt, which last time I did a stretch belt, it took me about 3 hours because I didn't have the right tool. That was on the 7 Series. Let's see if we can assemble this and make it work. So what I'm thinking, the main crank pulley is obviously metal, where the auxiliary pulley is a plastic one, so I don't want to put too much weird stress on the plastic one. And if I use that piece there, and then that pin, it actually gets a pretty damn perfect position on that. Sorry, I'll get around to the light. Gets a pretty damn perfect position on that hub there. So we'll try and set this up on the car. So we'll put it on the power steering pump first. And then if we put that belt on that one like that, put the tool so it holds it in place. Oh, if we can get it there. Do it that way. So what I ended up doing was poking the bolt through and then sliding it on to hold the belt. So we'll put the belt on the power steering pulley here, and now it's just a matter of turning it over and hopefully it all stays on. So again, don't want you to miss the action. And she's on. Oy, sorry. And just make sure that is all running level. Oh. It's not, so we've got to try and force her over a bit. She may be. Go the other way. Just heard it seat on. Okay, I think we're good. As we just come around on the diesel compression stroke. It seemed to be good. Alrighty. So she's all done, engine is all good. Just want to say, having that for stretch belts is worth its weight in gold. They're like 50 bucks, well worth it. And because my tools aren't here, using this jack was a nightmare. If you guys are doing DIY stuff yourself and you haven't got a real trolley jack, just go and get it because it just makes things so much easier. And yeah, the harmonic balancer is cooked. One thing I did notice when I started this old girl back up, it's actually got a funny noise coming from the AC compressor, so I guess I better start pricing them because I reckon she's going to need one soon. But yeah, hopefully that helps someone who's trying to undo their crank hub. Once we got the pry bar up in the flex plate, it was actually not too bad. You just need a hell of a lot of leverage on that crank bolt. It is a 22mm bolt and it does go anti-clockwise to undo it. Well, until the next one, thank you very much for watching. Sorry if the audio was a bit shit in this episode. Yeah, I haven't got tripods, I haven't got anything. Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.